Right. Well, this is very, very interesting what we're talking about here, because the discovery, I've been treating a lot of people, to be honest. I've been really working incredibly hard. In fact, I've never worked as hard as I have in the last month. People are desperately, desperately anxious to have help from Phytobiophysics. And that has given me an extraordinary opportunity to research people who are both COVID-19 positive and people who feel they may have had COVID-19, and people who are feeling very well, but they just want support and help. So all of that has been really, really invaluable, because it's enabled me to get a clear pattern as to how different people with COVID-19 are from people who are suffering from other conditions. And I need to be very frank with you here. The answer is there's not a huge amount of difference. There is not a huge amount of difference. And that is very startling, but that also ties up with some very interesting research that's been done. People who are dying of COVID-19, supposedly, and this is a very complicated situation here, because in many, many cases, people are being told, we're being told the statistics are that COVID-19 is killing people. But in many, many cases, the people who are dying of COVID-19 have got very many other serious health problems. There are also many of the people in old people's homes who would have probably died of flu are not dying of flu. People are not dying of cancer. People are not dying of old age. The hospitals are virtually empty. It's only the units where they're looking after COVID patients, and yet people are still dying. And what they're saying now is that virtually everybody who dies is dying of COVID-19, which of course is rubbish. They're dying because they would have died anyway. We've had, I think, 10 deaths in Jersey, and every single one of them were very elderly, and they were in the old people's homes. There's recent research to support the fact that people who are dying not of COVID-19 on its own, but they're dying of H1N1 and SARS. You really must read some of the articles that are coming out to be able to get a proper handle on all of this. Politically, it's very complicated, but from our perspective, it's actually very simple. Nothing has changed from the way we were always worked. Nothing has changed at all, because one of the things that we have to do in order to protect people is to ensure that we look after them in the way that we've always looked after them. And that is that we look after each person specifically. And this is the reason why this is so important, is because each person carries their own health problem, and also countries as well. In the West, we're much more likely to die of COVID-19 stroke H1N1 because everybody's being given the flu vaccine, and the children are having the spray vaccine, which has got H1N1 in it. And this virus is spread like wildfire into the community. And so COVID-19 isn't just separate, it's jumped in and it's mutated with H1N1. I suspect that in Malaysia, it's mutated with people who carry malaria, dengue fever, and Malaysian and tropical type disorders, and therefore have more likely to have more complicated lymph systems.